Hello all, I'm Sai and in today's video, I'm bringing to you my review of The Travel Gods Must Be Crazy by Sudha Mahalingam. This was my book club pick for the month of November this year in 2024 and I picked it up as a book to be read during non-fiction November too. It was quite a fun little book to read during the non-fiction November time, but I don't think that this is a book that can be for everyone who wants to read it. It is quite a fun book to read and in this video, I'll be telling you guys about my thoughts on the book and whether it will be suitable for you or not to read if you want to pick it up. So without any further ado, let's get into the video right away. Now, The Travel Gods Must Be Crazy has been written by the author who has been a very high-ranking government official and she has written the book in her 60s. The author gets this opportunity to travel to different countries across the world, mainly because of her profession. But there are also certain other instances during which she gets to take a trip on her own along with her family or friends or her son and then go visit certain different countries just in order to explore them and know about their culture and all such other fun stuff. The writing of the author in this book just feels a bit old school because the author has written columns for a lot of popular magazines and newspapers, as she herself mentions inside the book a lot of times. It was really nice to see that this kind of writing still exists in some of the books that we have right here. I cannot say that it's completely a positive thing too. It has its negative sides also, which I'll be talking about in a few moments. But for a book like this one, and for the kind of person that the author tries to show herself to be, the writing just helped a lot if you ask me. And it also kept the tone of the book a bit more easy and fun and light to read throughout. I did not feel like intimidated at any point while I was reading the book because we are going to travel across different countries along with the author while she's narrating the stories through this book here, right? So the tone of the writing and the way in which it was quite old school, if you ask me, kept me grounded and in the place while also getting to experience all the things that the author was narrating from her experiences from the different parts of the world. Now, of all the different countries that the author talks about inside the book, these are some of my favorites that I see as experiences from the author because they felt a lot more, fresh and authentic compared to the others that I read from the book. And some of these countries which I'd like to say are Japan, China, Vietnam, Germany, Austria, Israel, Rome, and a handful of others too. She also tells us the story of when she visits the easternmost village of India. That is, after they cross that village, they'll be getting into Myanmar. It was really, really fun to read that one. And it was also not something that happened long back in the life of the author. It was comparatively fresher. If you ask me, it was a nice thing to read about because it happened in 2001, if I'm not wrong, and it's been 23 years since it happened. But it felt very fresh and could easily happen right now also if someone goes and travels to that particular place. The author is also a Tamil person, so many things that she said were very relatable for me because I'm also from Chennai, that is Tamil Nadu. And the peculiarity of the author, which just served as a good relatable element for me, made me feel like I was reading something written by a person who's very similar to me. The author also describes all the different kinds of cultures, traditions, food, attire, and every other thing that the people follow in different places that she has visited across the world. The best part, if you ask me, when it comes to her writing is the way in which she describes the places that she has visited. And she just paints a really clear picture of how it looks over there. There is this particular chunk of the book which happens inside a rainforest somewhere in the world. And I was actually able to feel that there were insects surrounding me. There are like these monkeys or gorillas just jumping on the trees. There are fish just roaming each and everywhere. And there's this damp coldness that is completely experienced by the people while they are actually camping inside the rainforest. All those things just felt so engrossing for me and they put me in the place while I was reading the book. And it did not feel like I was reading something that was written on paper. It felt like I was either watching a film or I was in the place experiencing those things along with the people who are actually experiencing them right there. Now, talking about the negative aspect, again, I have to say that the negativity comes from the writing itself because the first thing which I did not like about the writing is that it felt way too dramatic if you ask me and also quite whiny because despite getting the chance to visit so many different places across the world in a span of like 3 to 4 decades, it felt like the author was not being grateful for that at all because each and every time there was some inconvenience which is bound to happen no matter who travels across the world on a budget. It felt like the author was making a whole huge drama out of it, especially inside the book, and just unnecessarily just amplifying stuff in order to make us understand that what happened there was not an easy thing to tackle. Okay, while someone travels, those things are bound to happen. They will happen even while we are traveling to very close places, even within our country. So that felt very overdone for me and it also ruined my experience of reading the book at multiple places. It made me feel irritated. It made me feel frustrated with the author. I can understand that she has gotten to visit so many of these places just because she is that much skilled and hardworking to be in that position in her job. But even earning that is kind of a privilege, right? Earning the chance to visit different places without spending much from your wallet, that's a huge privilege. And it felt like the author was just whining for the whole time, even though she, describes all these places to be so beautiful and so perfect. So that was not something that I liked about the writing at all. The next thing which I did not like about the writing was that it felt like a textbook to me. Okay, it did not feel like I was reading a non-fiction book or a travelogue anyway. It felt like I was reading an English textbook when I was in high school. Okay, we all have that experience where while we are reading our English textbook, there are so many words which we don't understand because they are put in there for the purpose of us learning them, and our English teacher just tells us the meaning or asks us to look it up in our dictionary or somewhere. The experience of reading this book in terms of the writing was like that for me, because each and every page I had at least one word that I did not know or was not able to make the meaning out of from the context of the book. I had to go to the internet and search certain words in order to understand their meaning. I did them for a couple of words in the beginning of the book, but after that I just gave up. I was not ready to just go forward and Google every other word for every other page and end up ruining the experience of reading the book a lot more than it already was. Even though I liked the way in which the author set up the places inside the book, I definitely did not like her writing style at all. It made me feel like I was reading a textbook back from school and not something that I was reading for leisure and pleasure, which ended up hindering my reading experience way too. So if you're a beginner, I'd not suggest you to read this book at all. But if you have read a lot of books already and you can manage textbook level English, then you can definitely go forward and read it. So yes guys, that's it for my review of The Travel Gods Must Be Crazy by Sudha Mahalingam, and I ended up rating this book 3 out of 5 stars. I hope this video was useful for you, and if it was, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.